Near-field communication, again, another wireless technology. This sometimes is confused, I've found, with infrared. When I first started getting into smart devices, I had the Palm Pilot, if any of you remember that. And the Palm Pilot had an IR emitter where I could trade contact information with someone else who had a Palm Pilot by putting the devices very close to each other so you had that IR line of sight. Near-field communication is the successor to that kind of data transmission. You take two smartphones, put them in very close proximity with each other, and they can actually perform direct data transfers, not using IR, but using near-field communications protocols. This is not Bluetooth. It's separate from the Bluetooth technology. A good example of near-field communication, actually, I keep mentioning Apple, is Apple Pay, which is a way to use your smartphone to perform business transactions. You can scan in your debit and credit cards and your loyalty rewards cards for various retailers, and when you're in the store, you can simply use your phone, put it up near an Apple Pay reader device, and securely transmit that information to pay for your purchase. It's pretty cool. Before we do our demo, I want to show you this ATX motherboard and just point out some of the connection interfaces that jump out at us. First of all, you see ATX normally has integrated components along the upper right edge, and these will line up with the rear of the chassis. We have, in this case, a bank of 1/8" audio connectors, USB, I don't know how many are there because we're looking from the top down, but one or more USB 2 connectors. We have USB 3. How do I know that? It's not necessarily the shape of the connector. Notice that etched on the motherboard or silk screened on the motherboard itself, the manufacturer of this motherboard, I suspect it's a Gigabyte, but I'm not sure, has helpfully labeled them. So here we have a DVI video, there's a VGA video, and quite honestly, I'm not positive what that is. That could be PS2 ports, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the learning path. Over on the left corner, we have a couple USB interfaces for internal connections. We have a bank of serial ATA to connect to hard drives and optical drives. And finally, in the very lower left, we have a connection of power connections that go out to your external, like on the case, the hard drive indicator light, and so on. Those are interface devices to a degree. After all, it's a good idea to have the power light illuminated when you have the power on of that box. Now let's do a quick demo.